Hey, gang. Starting for the third time now, we're starting with a new station today. And they're at a commercial break at 8:03 Pacific. So clearly no schedule has been put together. Everybody else is ready. I wonder if this is even the right station. But we're supposed to be on KSHP for 3 weeks now. And it's been anything but. The radio shopping show. Like, that's going to do good. But they have no listen here button, nothing. And when you finally find it, I don't get this. Like, what the hell did I pay? I think we got to call these guys live. We were going to do that last week. And they had some excuse. Their board guy got in a car accident or some crap. 1104 99.1 WDJY. That's a station that does carry us properly. We got another one adding in about 2 minutes. I'm going to let them know. Give us a countdown. We're sitting here scratching our heads, and that's what we're going to talk about today. What exactly, 1 minute till TAN, what exactly is going on with Trump's people? Let's bring the guys out. We'll add Blake Fisher from the Homeless Conservative, Matt Deemer from the Daily Crypto News.
It's arm day.
Guns out, baby. Guns out.
Oh, look at you. Oh, I can't wait to get back in the gym. I've been saying that for I don't know how long now.
You got to build one, man. You got to come over here and check this guy out. Look at that. Look at that. We're going to get lit.
That's at home? Oh, you suck.
Let's go.
Well.
Let's go, guys.
Yeah. Adding WTAN.
Blake, your hair is on top today.
It is on top.
Yeah, you got to trim.
Tampa Bay's Tan Talk.
Hey, Tampa Bay. Welcome to Up the Middle, 99.1 WDJY in Atlanta. Hello again to you. We got Blake Fisher and Matt Deemer with me. We're talking
What up?
Picks. And not for the Super Bowl.
I couldn't tell you who's good at. I mean, I've watched no NFL. I could not tell you one thing about the NFL this year.
I don't know. These Trump picks are better than the NFL draft for damn sure. At least get more attention from me.
Yeah, I mean, really. And one last. Still nothing on Las Vegas.
Yeah, we should talk to them after this.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. But we have other people listening, so we should probably get to you.
3 weeks. This is 3 weeks they've screwed up now.
The pains of doing live shows.
I know.
It's not that hard.
You're right.
Taking like $300 or whatever it was from me to produce a show that's not happening.
Wait there.
I bet a call to the FCC would wake them up.
Until that person's changed.
Yeah, you got to hook up at the FCC.
Yeah, actually.
Well, there you go. Yeah, picks have been interesting.
Yeah. Interesting.
I'm not a 4D chess. I've never been this person that believes that Trump is playing 4D chess, but I love all the theories about like, oh, he's putting these nominees up so that they can reject them. He can put someone like just a little less. Like, I don't think so. I don't think he thinks that far ahead.
Hey guys, before we get into the theories and the chess and all that stuff, I had a revelation the other day, and I was just wondering if you guys agree with it. So as we know, last week we were talking about Kamala Harris spending $1 billion going into debt, blah blah, and she
raised the money.
Yeah, no, she raised the money, spent $1 billion, went into debt, and but there's different things that she did and didn't do, and so everybody's like, well, why didn't she go on Rogan? Why didn't she go on all these other podcasts? Because I realized, I don't know if you guys know how consulting and ad buying works and all these things work. Like Car Daddy, they spend $100,000 on their set. Is that when you have a consultant, the consultants make money off the media buys. So if you make that connection, if you make that, if you get an article written, if it's a paid media, the consultants get paid for that. So all these other things that she didn't do are people who do it for free. So if she was in Texas and going on Joe Rogan in Austin, he doesn't charge. He just says, show up, let's do it. The consultants don't make no money. So I wonder if it's like the whole consulting game was like, hey, if we're not going to make money, we're not going to recommend her to do this.
No, so there's been stuff coming out now that there was potentially backlash with her staff, with her campaign staff, if she went on Rogan. So again, this is caving to the most fragile parts of the left. So literally, I mean, that's.
But who was that staff? Was it consultants? Look, because a lot of my staff were consultants too at one point.
I doubt it was consultants, because I would think consultants, you would just be like, well, fine, then we're not going to work with you. And you have to, like, you don't make money if you don't
do that. Not in the DNC, bro.
Okay.
You don't not work with consultants.
I mean, it said campaign staff. So it said portions of the staff were going to be super pissed and kind of revolt if she went on Rogan's podcast. I also heard that they were trying to make sure that legalization of marijuana would not get brought up on the show. And I think trying to handle Joe Rogan a little too much. And I think Joe was also worried about his group, his audience would want him to go after her. He didn't know if he really wanted to. So I don't know. I don't think it was one side. I don't think it was all Kamala. I think it was Joe too, going, well, I mean, my audience is going to want me to go after it. If you're not going to willing to answer hard questions, then.
Yeah, but then he kisses Donald Trump's ass?
Well, I mean, no, I think he prefers to just have a conversation with anyone. I think that he was saying his audience would have been disappointed if he didn't go after Kamala. Or you're right, it's an unfair double standard. But like, let's not talk about no one going after Kamala. She was going on the most friendly podcast I've ever seen.
But that's what I think. And that started really with Howard. He wanted Hillary Clinton on his show.
Yeah.
And she turned it down because of his reputation. Yeah. Presumably. Nobody really knows that. But
I mean, I'm going to assume
it's been on his show, but totally out of office.
Yeah.
The first one actually really cut that ribbon was Joe Biden. And what I think was brilliant about Howard's interview, he did it on a Friday when nobody knew he was going to be in because he's not on Fridays. And he actually had to say, this is really me. We're live today. And the person I'm interviewing is not an imposter. He's not an impersonator. I really have the president of the United States. And instead of asking him about, is he too old? How's the campaign going? He just talked about his life.
I know, but like that's what's so stupid is that like we're allowing that to substitute for actually learning who these candidates are. I mean, I think we voters should be demanding some substance from this. I mean, like, I just don't look, I love those kind of long-form interviews. I love to talk about that stuff, but I also want some substance. Like let's do a little bit of both, but it's pretty clear that neither one of Trump or Kamala Harris were going to do the real substantive stuff and really be asked tough questions. I mean, Kamala was going on a couple things that were like that at the end, because I think there was clearly a tone of desperation there, but I just don't believe that it's like finding the guy that I want to go have a beer with is not a qualification for you being the president of the United States.
Don't be that guy.
Why not? What has it got?
Don't be that guy.
What is it? It's got
because there's different venues for everything. Look, you don't go like everybody was giving me that stuff because I shared Andrew Schultz's interview with Trump. I thought it was funny. It was a funny interview. You don't go on a comedian's podcast and expect a comedian to go in there with hard-hitting questions.
I'm fine.
And Andrew Schultz actually had a good answer about that. He said, "Hey, what?"
I guess we're on in Vegas.
Oh, great!
We're on in Vegas. Finally.
So Andrew Schultz had a really good answer about that. He's like, "There's a couple of things I really cared about. One was IVF because that's how his wife got pregnant and they had their child. Another one was immigration. And other than that, I just want to joke with the president. So it's like, you don't go on these for hard-hitting questions for everybody. And everybody's like, oh, you didn't ask him the right thing.
Like, I'm not asking Theo Von to change his format. I'm saying candidates shouldn't just exclusively go on shows like Theo Von. And that's all Kamala was doing. And that's all Trump was doing. Kamala went on Brett Baier at the end, because she was desperate. But I'm just saying we should also be able to interview.
I mean, Trump, I don't want to be the Trump defender all the time on this show. I'm wondering if I'm actually a hidden Trumper. But but he did go on the show on the what was it, the Black Caucus?
No, he did, and I gave him full credit for that.
Handed to him there.
Yeah, but I give him full credit for doing it.
He got his ass handed to him, and rightfully so. So anyway,
I mean, okay, so you can't say go do the hard hitting things, and then everybody knocks the person for doing the hard hitting thing.
I give Trump.
It's like maybe he didn't have a great performance there, but at least he did it.
No,
and everybody's like, oh my god, look, he got his ass handed to him. So you want him to go in there and have the real questions, and then we struck it up to winners and losers on the way out.
It's I've always given him full.
His debate with Kamala, he didn't prepare to go in front of the Black Caucus of journalists.
Right. He doesn't prepare for anything, Yerks.
What's that?
He doesn't prepare for anything.
Do you think he prepared for it? They're killing the cats. They're killing the pets.
Eating.
You think he prepared for that?
Geese. And really, dude, they're killing geese.
Look, I gave him full credit for that. I'm just saying Kamala did not do that. Kamala went on Brett Baier 2 weeks before the election. That was the first, interview that wasn't so softball. And I think people, it didn't work. So I mean, that's the upside is I think it didn't work. And I will give Trump
credit. Trump did 60 minutes, I think. Did Kamala? Or no, Kamala did 60 minutes. He did 60.
It was I think CBS has did some journalistic malpractice between that and the
100%
CBS morning thing.
100%.
To never release that transcript, and they were obviously editing it to make her answers seem better than they really were.
Well, I don't know if they should or have to be released a transcript, but I think that
journalistically you should. I think that to be fully transparent, just release the transcript. The fact that you won't do it kind of shows me that there's obviously something to hide there. It's the same thing with Joe Biden.
You think they should release the transcript?
It doesn't matter if she lost.
Ross isn't even paying attention to his own damn show.
I gotta make sure we sound good on WTAN. Quick shout out to KSHP in Las Vegas. Hello, everybody. You're listening to Up the Middle. This is a political talk show inspired to us by one of your own, Brian Shapiro, who is on later on today. And he introduced us to the station, and now we're bi-coastal. You can also find us out in Tampa Bay, Atlanta, and anywhere you want to be on yergsradio.com. White Yergs.
You're bi now. Anyway, you're really swing one ray.
I've been
bi-coastal.
Yeah, and for KSHP folks, I'm the gay guy on the show. We've also got a Democrat. His name is Matt Deemer. An unfortunate, unsuccessful bid for Congress in the 7th District of Ohio.
Still 141,000 votes, guys. Come on.
Not bad.
Give me my flowers.
I want to talk about that today, actually.
It's more than good for me.
But on the right is Blake Fisher. He's the host of The Homeless Conservative. You can find him at thehomelessconservative.com. And Matt also hosts Daily Crypto News. What's that web address?
It's dailycryptonews.net.
.net. That's what I thought. Okay. And so about you, quick. Max had about roughly 51% of the vote. 51% of the vote.
Yeah.
You came in about 38 and change.
Yep.
And Dennis Kucinich had 11.
Yeah, something like that. 11 and change, yeah.
And change. If the Democratic Party can force out the sitting president of the United States, why can't they make some deal with one of their former guys, who is Kucinich, and you get roughly probably the majority of that 11%? And now we're in a closer race.
I mean, look, a 2-point race. I think I could have given it to Max. I'm just, but whatever, dude.
Exactly my point.
Look, I don't know. I don't want to get. I'm not in those closed door meetings behind there. I don't know what they're thinking. All I know is that this was in a targeted race. There was 5 in Ohio. Basically, when you have a targeted race for everybody listening, that's the ones that
they're putting money
party,
into.
the party cares about and puts money into and resources, and everybody else, they can just, flounder like a fish in a boat. It really doesn't matter to them. And honestly, that's why Kamala Harris didn't come to Ohio.
Yeah.
Ohio had to buy their own yard signs, from what I understand. So if you wanted a Kamala Harris yard sign, somebody had to organize the money, put up the money, buy the signs for themselves, and then sell them to the parties within Ohio, because Kamala wasn't spending a dime here.
Wow.
So, this is just what happens when you have targeted races and not targeted races.
Electoral votes, electoral college votes. But I'll bet now that they also lost the House, I'll bet that they were wishing they maybe put a little bit more money into places like yours.
Oh, I'm sure they're wishing all sorts of things, but they're probably not going to learn their lesson, I don't think.
Yeah, right. Will they learn their lesson?
No,
I don't know. Long story short is I'm kind of not happy about it. I don't want to start pointing fingers and blame. I have a lot of more party, I would say not structural, foundation and messaging and platform gripes than I do about who they're going to target and so on and so forth, because I don't know the conversations that are being had. So that's where I'm my head's at right now. I knew that this was going to be a hard race going in, and yeah.
Yeah, but you didn't.
Long story short is, even after this race, I didn't get a call from any of the party officials to say things for running or anything. So it doesn't really matter. I understand where they're at right now.
Yeah, it seems to me, it seems like we don't know we're still waiting on some of these House races, so we're not even really finished with this House thing.
Yeah, but the Republicans could capture the House.
The Republicans will have the majority no matter what, but we don't know how large of a majority. It might be even smaller than it was, and so I would say that the optimism, the amount of money wasted, for example, in Texas, I have to keep coming back that Texas and Florida wasted. I mean, I think Allred spent $77 million and lost by 9 points or whatever. I mean, it wasn't even close. It was worse than the last time.
He didn't lose because he ran a bad campaign.
Well, but my point is, you waste a lot of money.
He lost because he was down ballot from a bad campaign.
Well, I mean,
same thing with Debbie Powell here in Florida.
That's 9 points. That's not because of down ballot. That's like you would lose no matter what. My point is, it's a lot of money that Democrats are wasting in Texas and Florida when they could be spending it elsewhere in House races that were winnable.
You've said that before.
Yeah.
But if you don't start now, win. And is that all you do is pick the easy fights?
No, but
Ted Cruz was scared. I got emails from both sides, and I get him from, when he's blowing smoke and sunshine.
Yeah, and the polling was wrong. I mean, the polling the Democrats were paying attention to was way off.
He believed it because I'll tell you for free, the emails that he sent in the last couple of days were not the same emails he was sending 6 months ago.
That's fine. The point is they keep getting lied to about what, or I don't know who they need to fire, but obviously someone is telling them that Texas is winnable, and it obviously was not winnable, and neither was Florida, and they wasted $150 million in those states. Well, spread it out.
Hold on. Did you just say that polls aren't accurate?
The ones that they were paying attention to weren't.
Did somebody else been saying that?
Well, but I mean, I'm not
saying that.
I'm not saying all polls are inaccurate.
You don't get any flowers for that.
No, I'm not. I'm not saying all polls are inaccurate. In truth, the polls, the presidential ones specifically, if you want to get into that, are really like A, within the margin of error. B, they just underestimated Trump again.
Well, first of all, the polls are not within a margin of error, Blake. They're not within the
margin of error. No, they weren't even close to the margin of error.
They weren't even close.
I mean, look. Yeah, they were.
No. None of them had him sweeping all 7 states.
My man, they had Kamala within 6 points. Margin of error. She lost Ohio by 12.
No, I'm not talking about Ohio. I'm talking about like if you look at the national polling or even in the swing states.
Winning.
What?
The national polls had her winning.
Okay. Do you know how the margin of error is in the poll itself? So if it has Kamala at like +1, for example, which I think her final thing was like maybe she was up by 0.5 or something like that nationally. On if you just look at who do you like, Trump or Harris kind of thing. I think that's including polls that had the Jill Stein and those kind of people in them. Okay. The margin of error is like 3 or 4 points on these things, which means Kamala might really be +4 or might be -4. And she was it's within that margin of error. The problem is not that the polls are getting less accurate. It's that the margins are smaller in these races. We're 50-50 split all the time. Well, one
actually,
point
that is actually people will argue with that, Blake, because actually Nate Silver went on a whole campaign like in the last couple of weeks of the presidential campaign, saying that the problem with their polling is that these pollsters aren't taking the risk that they need to take. So they're doing these big margin of errors of like 3 and 4 points.
Yeah.
So they are safe, so they continue to lock down these contracts.
Yeah.
And so are they correct? I'm going to have to say no, because they're not predicting anything. And if anything, they're predicting erroneously.
Right, but even if let's say for example you said there was a 2-point margin of error.
Look, I know we all know how the margin of error look.
Right.
I think. Thank you for educating us. We appreciate the education, sir.
I'm just saying you did see the movement in the movement in the polls was right. They just had it weighted wrong for Trump supporters. And I talked to a guy this week on my show about polling, and specifically he said, look, we don't know anything, because this is what he does. He's like, we don't really know anything until we know who shows up. That's really like the final thing we measured against. Now that I know that Democrats were -6 compared to Republicans and independents on who showed up and actually voted, he was like, I could have told you who won, but you don't know that until after the election.
This dude just said, we don't know anything until they vote.
Well, no, I mean, he's saying you can't compare accuracy until they vote. You know what I mean?
Not only is he a political scientist,
no
he's
shit.
a rocket scientist too.
So yeah, to me, it was like it was off because it underestimated Trump's support again. But really, what it got wrong and what I was wrong about, and I think everyone was wrong about, is Democrats didn't show up and vote for Kamala Harris. It wasn't that It's not that. I mean, obviously, independents and Trump won some demographics he did better with demographics that, and he ate some of Biden's lead away that Kamala didn't get with like Latino voters and stuff. But really, when it all boils down to it, Democrats did not show up to vote for Kamala Harris in the same numbers that Republicans showed up and voted for Trump, and therefore she lost. And so I thought her turnout game would be better because Trump was outsourcing it to like Elon Musk's PAC and counting on voters that didn't vote in 2020 or 2022, which seemed risky to me. And Kamala's going after women who are more reliable voters, but they did not. I mean, Democrats just didn't show up for. To me, the lesson learned there is if you can't get your own party to show up and vote for people, how are you possibly persuading independents and Republicans to come over to you? Yeah. To me, there's a lot of soul searching that needs to go there if you can't get Democrats to show up for Kamala Harris when she's against Donald Trump. She is a bad candidate. I agree, blah, 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 but all stipulations. But Donald Trump should be very beatable. And they couldn't get people to show up, or at least
we need to talk about these cabinet picks. That's what we got to talk about, because that's what's on the docket for today. That's what's in the news. That's what's trending. That's what people want to know about.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm all for it.
Ross, where are we going with this?
I got to try to make sure that we're going to get on our next station when that checks in. But
should we
all right, then I will lead the day. Here
can we do this? Like, are we just going to go in order, like name them and then talk about it, or do we want to say like good, bad, ugly? How do we want?
No, let's go in order, because I think that's a good structure. And I sent the USA Today article and the link in the show notes.
Yeah,
Blake, if you want to open that up so we can just go down the cabinet positions. First one is Chief of Staff, this Susie. What is her name? Wiles.
Yeah, Susie Wiles.
I don't know anything about her.
She's just, I mean, she ran its campaign. That's
right.
Pretty common thing, I think. With
what article are you talking about?
What?
You said USA Today?
Isn't that what you have on the screen right there?
Yeah, but you're talking about Susie Wiles, and it's Marco Rubio.
Right. We were just saying that was his first hire. That's not a cabinet level position. It doesn't have to get thing. But it is interesting. She'd be the first female chief of staff for the president.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty diverse of the Republican Party. Good job, man.
Especially for Republicans, for a party that's entirely racist and sexist. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, right. Wow. But I must mention she is a white woman though.
Oh gosh, well, it worked out really well. The DEI hire of Kamala Harris really worked out well for Democrats in 2020. So you guys keep that up if you want to keep losing.
Well, we'll talk about the African American hire too in a minute.
Yeah. Okay. So first one, Marco Rubio, Secretary of State. I say this is a good pick. I mean, I think that I think it disappoints maybe some in the MAGA crowd that are very isolationist, in the sense that like the first couple of cabinet positions he announces are traditionally more hawkish Republicans or more Reaganish conservatives. Now, will they behave that way in these offices, I think that's hard to say, because I mean Marco Rubio is kind of a, he's all these people have been on a journey where at one point they hated Trump and now they're kind of licking his boots all the time. So I think
with Marco Rubio, for me, he is considered a neocon. I mean, sorry, you Blake, but that's okay.
Well, I mean, neocons not really. I don't think that works, because neocons were Democrats that turned conservatives. I don't think the neocon thing works as well as people think it does.
Okay, then let's define this as somebody who is more pro-war, more pro military industrial complex, and is easier to use aggression than diplomacy. Yeah. And I'm thinking Marco Rubio is probably that guy. Yeah. And now my question is, does he have a long rope to be the Secretary of State? Or does he have a short rope where he has to go and talk to Trump about every little thing? And that's one thing I wouldn't know. So if I was saying, like, is this am I bullish on him being the Secretary of State? Absolutely not. But then again, we'll see how he's controlled and handled by Trump.
Yeah, this is tricky. He's picking people that have been kind of all in on the loyalty thing lately. To me, it's what my prediction, and maybe that's why I feel that this is going to be the way it goes. I've said, and so is everyone else, that there's no way Trump's putting anyone in any cabinet level positions that are going to tell him no ever again, because he learned his lesson in his first administration. I think everyone he's picked so far, and we'll go down the list. Yeah, Marco Rubio under any other Republican president, probably a great Secretary of State pick. My concern is that it will be Trump dictated and Marco go sell it on TV. That's what I think he's picking. Is people
that's exactly what I'm thinking. So is he actually going to be a Secretary of State or in name only? Is he going to be a signo?
No, I think my prediction, if I had to guess right now, is that everyone will be basically the press secretary, but for different cabinet level positions. So Marco Rubio is going to be the press secretary for whatever Donald Trump wants on foreign relations stuff. That I think that's how this is going to work, because my question is, do we really think Marco Rubio is going to say no to something or push back on Trump? I'm not sure. I'm not sure he can. I think that Trump,
and that's my worry. And that's my worry. It's first of all, it's like, okay, does Trump care about these geopolitical issues? Probably not. It's probably more like, how does it make me look?
Yes.
Marco, are you making me look good and the United States look good? Is in do I have something to show that how good we are and own the libs? Then good job, and you do your thing.
Yep.
In a Secretary of State position, this is kind of a position where you need to have somebody who's capable and make decisions while they're moving around into these different countries and dealing with these situations, reporting back to the president when needed, but a lot of autonomy when you're doing this role. I don't know if he's going to have any of this. So if you have this bottleneck of Trump, who probably doesn't really care too much about geopolitical issues, and then you have this person who I think is more aggressive than diplomatic, I just see a huge problem coming.
Yeah, I think it also isn't just Trump I'm worried about. I'm worried about who has Trump's ear. I'm worried about Tucker and JD Vance in Trump's ear, convincing him to care about stuff that Trump didn't care about in his first term. So I think Trump did outsource almost everything in his first term that was foreign policy wise, because he didn't care about it. And I think that's why he got a lot of foreign policy wins, is because he wasn't undermining his Secretary of State or even Jared Kushner doing stuff in the Middle East and with Israel and stuff. Because what happened all the time with everything else domestically is like Mitch McConnell's working on the thing that Trump tells him to work on. And then publicly, like Trump in a press conference says the opposite of that thing. And now Mitch McConnell has to scramble to try to and so if Trump wants to open his mouth on something, he's going to screw you if you're working for him. If he doesn't care about something and doesn't want to talk about it, and I think foreign policy is a little like that for him, then I do think Marco Rubio could just do his job. And I think we'd be well off. The problem
so what does Ross think?
Yeah.
I think that he's got an alleged pedophile.
We're not there yet, right?
We're not there yet. We're talking about Marco Rubio.
Just Rubio.
It's already 11:32. We got to move it along. Marco Rubio has been quiet down here for a reason. I think he's becoming unpopular in the Senate because he's just not popular. Not that he's done anything bad.
Marco Rubio?
Yeah.
I don't think he's that unpopular.
How many times has he run for president unsuccessfully?
Well, that doesn't mean
Now he's got some joker like Rick Scott.
There's only one Republican that has successfully run for president since 2004. Yergs, it's Donald Trump. That's the only one. So that's kind of a bad lot.
I'm talking about getting a bid for the nominee.
Okay, Marco Rubio is pretty serious.
Let him say his opinion, Ross.
You just had the past half hour to talk.
Okay, go ahead.
Listen to something intelligent for a change.
Yeah.
He's had the past how many times of trying to become a Republican nominee and failed. He's not popular on any of the other committees. And now he's got some skeletal looking thing like Rick Scott beating him out for the leadership position as a nominee. Scott didn't get it, thank God.
He was, but Rubio wasn't trying to be
senior to him.
But Rubio wasn't trying to be speaker. Not speaker, sorry. I mean
leadership.
Majority leader, yeah. In the Senate.
And he's not trying to be speaker now because he hasn't been popular for the past couple of years. He needs a change of pace. And this is it. He doesn't care how short his leash is or how long his leash is. He just cares it's a different leash.
Yeah, but not if you're fired in 6 months and you don't have a job anymore.
He's got a pension. He's got a Senate pension.
I think that's the risk that everyone's taking right now. When you take a job with Donald Trump, you run the risk of being fired or having to resign.
It's complacency.
Yeah.
Why? It's complacency. Why do you think there's almost 300 prominent Republicans from local to federal level, 40 out of 44 past cabinet members, the entire Joint Chiefs, none of whom endorsed him this time around?
Yeah, and I think it's because they know he's going to hire. So that's my thing. Is like, does Rubio stand up? Does he not? I my guess is he doesn't. I think he rolls over. I think all these people.
No, that's how he became unpopular here in the first place. It's because he doesn't stand up.
Okay, so you want to move on to other ones?
He made comments about Cubans, and dude, you're Cuban.
Yeah, I don't buy that he's unpopular. He's won re-election handily every time. He only ran for president in 2016, right?
Because it's Florida. They forget about things like that when it's he's the Republican.
Okay, it's just like you're calling him unpopular without any evidence that he's unpopular. He's winning elections. And
have you heard anything from him since he was nominated for Secretary of State?
What is that
going into being nominated for Secretary of State?
That's a pretty big get, I would say. But
yes,
I would say if you're unpopular, you don't get nominated to be Secretary of State.
Just like everybody we're talking about today, they're a yes man or woman.
Yeah, well, I would say to for his popularity, he does have 4.6 million followers on Twitter. So
that he's acquired over how many years?
Okay, I mean, Jerks, it's obviously you don't like Marco Rubio. That's fine, but
all right, Matt Gaetz. You know what? I think Yergs has moved to the left of me, and I think we need to reframe who's
I know. I think
right
the
center
middle is going to be kind of weird here. Yeah, who do you want to go to next, Yergs?
Our resident. I mean, this is a guy who's
more
now.
Floridians.
Let's face it. He's going to be the Attorney General. It doesn't matter that there's a vetting process.
I don't think he will.
Well,
I don't think he'll be.
You think he's just
talking about Matt Gaetz? We should say that
today the House was supposed to vote on whether the House Ethics Committee was going to vote on whether or not they were going to release the report on his bad behavior.
And then he resigned.
We're talking about bad behavior. It's not like Santos going around just lying about his life. This is a guy who's going around taking his phone, putting it in the face of other members, and saying, "This is the underage girl I just had sex with last night."
Yeah. Well, I don't think he ever admitted on the floor to them being underage.
According to the members who said to
no. Hold on. Don't quote people. Mark Wayne Mullen is my senator. He was in the House, and he is quoted in interviews saying, yes, Matt, everyone knows he's a creep. He would show pictures of the girls he had sex with. He never said that they were underage in those quotes.
Oh, stop it.
I'm just look, the facts matter. And now
you think they're not covering for each other at the same time they're throwing each other under the bus?
I don't think I think that he's a creep. Do I think that he probably did have
my
sex
11 and a half years living in Washington, D.C. disagrees with you.
I'm just saying don't quote a senator as saying that Matt Gaetz admitted to having sex with underage girls on the floor of the House. when that did not
I
happen.
said on the floor of the house.
What?
I didn't say on the floor of the house. I said on campus.
Well, that is the
All
quote.
the
I mean,
Capitol.
Mark Wayne Mullins is quoted saying, I mean, we can find the clip or whatever, but that Matt Gaetz was showing everyone, he's showing pictures.
Blake, I heard the quote. He never said underage, but look,
I didn't
this
say
is
The
alleged.
women that he's admitted to being with
okay.
are
I
underage.
will.
The
Look,
same women
this is
that
alleged.
have come
This is alleged.
forward
This is why
and
there's
said, this guy screwed me when I was 17.
And why did
Or
the
underage?
if it's that cut and dry, why the
You
justice
want this
not
guy
charged?
to be your attorney general?
No,
Why are you
you're-
sticking up for this guy?
Look,
None of us
Yes.
are. The facts matter. The facts matter. I hate
yes,
Matt
and
Gaetz. I
guilt
was
does matter,
furious about
Ross.
this.
Guilt matters too. You can't just because people say something, you have to go through a process. And if that process was being held out in the ethics committee, then
Let
it
me show
got
you
shut
a
down.
process.
Do you want to take that to a criminal charge? Then it should be turned to a criminal charge.
Well, and DOJ declined to charge him, and it's
So
probably
I don't know
because-
what people wanted to do about this. Like, yeah, it's bad that this is alleged, but politics is alleged. Everything's alleged because you want to allege things so people get bad things in their. That's what happens.
However, criminally is one standard, and being in Congress is another standard. And I don't think he should be in Congress. I think it's allegedly this is a pretty damning report. I think that's why we've seen him resign.
Dude, you're showing him a mic shot or something.
Yeah, you don't recognize that guy? That's your
Yeah, I
attorney
recognize that
general.
guy, but where's the charges on the mugshot?
That's
It's a DUI that he had thrown out
yeah.
because Daddy got to
come
work
on.
for
I
him.
don't the DUI.
So look, let's actually talk about the substance here. Matt Gaetz.
Yeah, let's talk about him being the attorney general.
Let's
Do we
talk
think he's gonna be a
about
good
the
attorney general?
substance.
No.
Everybody's trying to get on Merrick Garland's case when this guy's already coming in with an arrest record.
Yeah,
It's
so
just him.
Here's my problem. He practiced law for 2 years at a small law firm in Florida.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest.
He's
Yes,
never
I
been a
know.
prosecutor. He has no managerial experience he's been in the House for like a second. He doesn't even have a legislative staff in the House because he's just performative nonsense all the time. He's got comms teams. He does not have a legislative team. He's not a serious person. He is not qualified to be the attorney general. Beyond all of that, yeah, there's maybe he had sex with underage girls and was doing illicit drugs and showing pictures of it on the House floor and stuff like that. If that ethics committee releases it or that gets leaked, which it will 100% get leaked or get released,
100%.
There's no way this ethics report doesn't come out because everyone hates him in the House. Like, I think that's another important thing to do. He's a backstabbing SOB. Kevin McCarthy hates him. I know he's out now, but like,
Look, Kevin's going after him. Max Miller has already put out a statement out and was on the news the other day saying that this guy's a joke and nobody likes him and everybody's happy he resigned. Look, there is far many reasons. Look, this is the problem with, I think, gossip and the mentality. Instead of talking about him being 2 years as a lawyer, which you need much more than 2 years to be the attorney general.
I agree.
The attorney general.
Totally
You can't just be a fresh out of law school and then partying. We talk about him doing some party drugs. Like, I don't care if he did party drugs. I don't care if he still does party drugs. Can he do the job? To be honest with you, and that's what matters.
No, I think it does matter. I think if the attorney general does party drugs, I don't think you can be the top law enforcement official and be like breaking the law actively all the time too. I would have a serious problem with that. I just
then I'm okay. I misspoke. I'll go back. I don't care if he's done party drugs. If he's sitting there blowing lines at the attorney general's desk, then that's an issue.
Yeah, but here's the other problem. This is so clearly when people talk. You mentioned Merrick Garland, Yergs. The Republicans love to complain about the weaponization of the Justice Department, which I think they have some legitimate arguments with there. I mean, not like to the degree that they think they do. However, this is so clearly that. This is obviously Trump is just going to tell him who to go after, and he's going to go after him. He's an attack dog. And
this is going to be lawfare.
So you're against lawfare if it's from the other side, but you're for it if it's on your side. That's what bothers me about all this is that
100%.
Republicans going, oh, well, we'll just do it. It'll be fine. We don't like it when the other side do it. And it will destroy our Justice Department, period. It will have no, like both sides will not have faith in the institution. This will be a very, very bad path to go down if we, and it's like clear you're not serious about prosecuting. He's not a prosecutor.
Somebody
I don't know if you heard me counting. I did over 1,000. Well, yeah, I think this is really unserious, and I don't think he's going to get there, Yergs, because there's 53 Republicans have 53 seats. There's no way he's getting Murkowski or dang it. So I think
there were 4.
Yeah.
There were like 4 or 5 that spoke out.
So I think he's got one vote that can
The
swing.
article that I read prepping for this, there were 4 or 5 that spoke out, and they said that they were all senators. Well, Max Miller was one of them, and we know exactly who that is. Yeah.
So Max Miller was one of them that spoke out and said he wouldn't confirm him.
And it was, and this article had counted him as one of the senators.
Well, he's not a senator.
Wait a minute, he's not a senator.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm like, well, who's the other? I know Bernie Moreno just won. Who's the other senator? And I had a total brain fart. I'm like, oh, that's right. It's J.D. Vance.
No.
Who's the other senator from Ohio?
JD. Well, but J.D. Vance, will not be there, obviously, anymore.
Right. Exactly.
But they could, if they could replace him in time. Like, I wouldn't count on that one not being a vote. Like, they'll have that one.
The point is, that article made.
Well, it's the other moderate. I can't remember the other moderate in.
I know. I'm just trying. I've just like totally drawn a blank. It's Murkowski and
Alaska is one.
Yes, it's Maine and Alaska. Who's the
Susan Collins?
Susan Collins. Gosh, I could not think of her name.
Yeah.
So those two are basically, I would count on them being adults because they tend to be and have.
It's possible, but you still need another one, and who's that going to be?
You need one.
And then again, who's going to be? I think the calculus for this is going to who's going to be up for re-election in 2 years, and if none of them are, then they might be able to escape past this administration.
Yeah, I think that's it. I just think that you've got to, and Trump's trying, by the way, this is the other thing that really sucks and pisses me off is that Trump is trying to get around this before even announced any of these cabinet positions. He was already saying the next leader needs to allow him to basically nominate these people via the recess process, where if Senate, there's this obscure rule where it's like this, if the Senate is out for 10 days or more, the president can temporarily do these recess appointments because the Senate can't confirm it because they're out. Well, Republicans sued Barack Obama back in, I think, 2012 for some of this nonsense that he tried to do, and they won. And so since then, the Senate has had a thing where they don't ever have 10 days where they're in recess. They have like little meetings on the board or whatever that would not allow that to kick in so that the president can't do that. Trump is asking the senators, the Republican senators, that he should be able to get all these people confirmed anyway, to just not do their job. He's asking them to just recess and let him pick everyone he wants to without the confirmation battles.
And keep in mind, forget about the confirmation battles. He's done it the first time around, and he said he would do it again.
Who did he do it with the first time around? He didn't do it.
So that is use acting secretaries.
Oh, yeah. Yes. That's the other thing. So it's like, will the Senate actually fight him on this? I hope they do, because again, if they abdicate their power to I think it's unconstitutional. I think it would end up at the courts, and the courts would say it was unconstitutional. The Senate can't just abdicate their duty. And it's also ridiculous that from the right, we're getting this, well, this is a mandate. This was a red tsunami. It was not a red tsunami. This is not a mandate. The mandate was, we don't like Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. We're giving Trump another chance. It was not, Trump gets to just choose whatever he wants. These senators got elected too. And so did the members of the House. Like, the president was not the only election that happened last week. And I'm tired of. I'm already tired.
So far, what we aren't doing this whole time is saying who's for and who's against these guys. So wait, let's go back to Marco Rubio. Who's for his appointment? I'm against.
I'm for.
Against.
All right. So we have 2 against and 1 for. Matt Gaetz.
What
do you mean? You're voting, man. You're voting. You're voting.
Blake, don't I owe you a pizza?
You do owe me a pizza, but here's a question theoretically, though, because I think this is important, like level setting. I'm generally a person that thinks you give the president his cabinet unless someone is egregiously not qualified or
no. We're senators. We're sitting in there. We're caucusing right now on WTAN, and we're caucusing together, and we're voting now for the appointment of Matt Gaetz. I don't care about any change in the rules. You say yes or no.
Okay, so we're pretending we're senators. Okay. Yeah, I would say yes to Rubio. Yeah.
All right, Senator Blake, good job. Senator Blake. Senator Ross says no. Senator Matt says no. We have to go now to Matt Gaetz. Senator Matt says hell to the gnaw.
Yeah. Nah, dog.
Nah, dog.
Nah, dog.
Ross?
Senator Yerg says, "Are you nuts?"
All right, so we have 3 down votes across the board. Now we have to go to Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi Gabbard, who is being recommended for the Director of National Intelligence. Look, Tulsi was my representative in Hawaii when I lived there. She was very young. She's been in politics for a long time. She's military. She, flipped from the Democratic Party to independent to Republican. She's been very anti-war.
Or did she get forced out of the Democrats? I think that's more accurate.
You know what? She probably got forced out of the Democratic Party. And you know what? Some people, just because they're forced out, doesn't make them bad. It means that they didn't do what the Democrats say.
I just think it's worth the
thing.
difference is significant in some ways.
All the reason why I'm an independent is I can think for myself. I don't need to toe strictly a party line. Here's my problem. I don't have a problem with Tulsi Gabbard at all. She'll get an upvote for me for the DNI. But there's another position.
What? I have to know why she gets a yes and Marco Rubio gets a no. Like, what's the foreign policy trick here?
Because she's an intelligence now.
Yeah, but she
might
not
be down low.
She might not be able to get a security clearance, Yergs, because she's got too many freaking weird ties to Russia and Syria.
Because that's never stopped the Trump administration.
Look, I'm just saying again. I think she's going to have some trouble in confirmation because I think she will actually have her apologizing for the Bashir regime and the Russian
there's a bigger issue when it talks about basic qualifications. When you look at the national intelligence community, that the DNI, Director of National Intelligence, is the formerly known as the intelligence czar. It is the person that is in charge of the entire intelligence community. CIA, FBI, Secret Service, NSA, DIA, all of them answer to this person.
Right, and you think we should put someone in there that doesn't
Trump
trust
is
that intelligence over Syrian?
Stop talking over me. The guy that Trump is nominating currently to be the DCI, which stands for Director of Central Intelligence, the director of the CIA, is his former DNI. That guy's taking a demotion.
I'm not talking about any of these people. I'm talking about her. She believes
Trump does not know what he's doing.
I'm asking about Tulsi Gabbard specifically, and what about her not believing U.S. intelligence over the Syrian regime? She believed that we lied about them having chemical weapons and using them on their citizens. That's her. So you think she should run intelligence, even though she doesn't believe our intelligence over a dictator in Syria?
In all fairness, Blake, did she see the actual intelligence, or is this hearsay that what she believes from news reports?
No, this is what she has said publicly when she was.
Well, exactly, but did she see the intelligence? Did she have the access to see the intelligence?
I am not sure or not, but to go out and
I think that has a big thing to do with it. It's kind of like us sitting here saying like, oh, well, the national intelligence says this and this because we get it from CNN. Unless I see the intelligence report, it's really hard for me to make a educated decision. I hope that if she reads it and it says one thing or the other, she would understand one way or the other. I am giving her a thumbs up because she has been vocal about anti-war more so than Marco Rubio, which actually leads me to my point. To have her as the DNI and him as the SOS makes me very concerned that they will never see eye to eye, and you'll put troops in harm because one would be going left while the other one will be going right.
It's one thing to be anti-war. It's another thing to be pro-Russia propagandist and pro-dictator propagandist. It's just, to me, it's very scary that a lot of people trust her, in my opinion. It really does show. I think she's worse than Gates because I think she's actually potentially compromised, and he's just an idiot. He's a fool and a performative. He's a clown. I think, is dangerous because she believes Syrian dictators over U.S. intelligence. I don't care if you see the intelligence or not. If I'm sorry, this is just ridiculous. I think that, and she thinks that we are to blame right
This
after
is
Russia
when
invades
Blake
Ukraine.
gets so flustered. He's like, this is.
I know.
Slams his computer shut.
Russia invades Ukraine, and she blames us for it. That's who she thinks is to blame for Russia invading Ukraine, not Russia.
That was the whole Republican Party.
No, this is Tulsi Gabbard I'm talking about. So why are you for her? If you're so again,
Maybe her hearing right here has changed my mind.
I think she is dangerous,
and I have that authority.
Hey man, we're guys, we're caucusing Blake. Come on, relax. Did we vote yet?
No, there's a serious question if she can even get security clearance to even be it. So I think that maybe she and Gates go down. I would definitely vote her down.
All right, Ross, what is your vote?
Blake's convinced me. I'm going to vote her down.
You're voting her down.
Yeah.
All right. You know what? I want to see what Michigan does, and then I'll come back to you.
I forgot about the Syria issue. I knew that she blamed the U.S. like every Republican blamed the U.S. Oh, this wouldn't have happened if Trump was here.
No, it wasn't like that. It was our fault for potentially, not signaling loud enough that we weren't going to allow Ukraine into NATO. So of course it's convenient to blame us, not instead of Russia, who actually invaded the country.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the whole Republican way right now. And when I say Republican, first of all, I'm not talking about actual Republicans like you, present company excluded. I'm talking about MAGA.
Oh,
that's what you're saying.
I also forgot. She said that we ran biological weapons labs in Ukraine, and that's why Russia went into it. Also, conspiracy theory made up by Russia, and she's parroting the stuff. So she's
because Russian conspiracy theories never worked. Yeah, Blake, well done. You switched me over.
Yeah, I mean,
all right. Well, like I said, I'm going to wait for Michigan, see what they're going to vote in Pennsylvania. I'm going to see what Fetterman does, and then we'll get back to you.
Okay. So Tulsi, right. I'm saying out. Who's next?
All right, so we have 2 downs and I'm gonna caucus with Fetterman really quick. All right, so we have the deputy chief of staff. I don't think we did talk about that, do we?
No, I mean,
that's the. Well,
I think the next one to talk about that's actually controversial is the
Stephen Miller,
Stefanik? Tom Homan.
No, the Fox News guy.
Tom Homan's actually interesting. The borders are.
Yeah. But he's talking about Hegseth.
Yeah, Hegseth.
Secretary of Defense. But here's the director of Central Intelligence. Trump designated his former director of National Intelligence. Why would you give that guy a demotion? That's what it is.
Well, so here's where my theory comes in when we start talking about this group of people. So to me, I have big objections to Tulsi Gabbard and Matt Gaetz. When it comes to people like Hegseth, who's a Fox News personality, and he was in the Army and stuff like that, and he has some qualifications, but he certainly has never ran any kind of. He's never been in charge of staff or anything like that. So
yeah,
all of a sudden he's running the Pentagon. I don't think he's qualified for the job in the sense that
he doesn't have that leadership experience.
Right. I think you're setting him up for failure. But 100%. my sort of like, I think presidents get the cabinet they want, and I would not object to him, even though I think he's unqualified and I think it will be bad. I don't think it'll be a good fit. I don't think it'll last. But I think he's going to, again, does this prove this is the theory with Trump? I'm going to tell you what you're going to do, and you're going to go sell it on TV. He's now the press secretary of defense is Marco Rubio, and our secretary of state is Marco Rubio, and this would be the press secretary of defense. And I think that's essentially what we're going to get out of these people. They're good looking. They can be on camera. They can spread the message. So generally I'm like, give the president the cabinet he wants and let him fail. Like, give him the rope to hang himself with if that's what he wants to do.
The sad part about that is what the rope just doesn't hang himself. It hangs all of us.
I know, but like
that position, 100%.
Right. But wouldn't you rather voters understand that there are consequences to their actions and see something go down in flames, which is what we've been doing, volleying back and forth for the last 10 years, basically, is 2016, Trump wins. 2018, Democrats take the House and Senate.
You got 2 minutes with WTAN.
Yeah, we get 2 minutes with a bunch of them.
So no one's even been in power for 4 years straight for now 16 years or something. So to me, let him.
Blake, he's trying to wrap up, Blake. That's what I was alluding to.
We'll hold on. There we go. Everybody at WDJY in Atlanta, WTAN, WDCF in Tampa Bay, and KSHP in Las Vegas. First of all, thanks to everybody in Vegas for joining us today. We'll see you guys again next week. We'll see you all again next week, but we can see you in 2.5 minutes. Jump over to Yergz Radio, YERGZ, radio.com, or watch us on video. You can find out where all those various places are by going to www.mastiff.media. I don't think that one actually works, so I think you got to do the whole HTTPS // thing. Just type in mastiff.media, search it. You'll see a big cartoon mastiff with blue eyes. That's us. That is like our link tree. That is where everything's at, where you can get us every Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 Pacific, 4 p.m. By the way, 4 p.m. in London. We're there as well. We're also on America One Radio, another station out of Atlanta. You can find Blake Fisher at, let me get his stuff up here, at thehomelessconservative.com, Blake at thehomelessconservative.com, and Matt Deemer at dailycryptonews.net. And is this address still good? Deemerforcongress.com?
Yep.
info@deemerforcongress.com. You can get us all by emailing news, NEWZ, at Yergz, YERGZ.com. If we don't see you in a few minutes, in a few seconds, we'll see you next week right here on whatever station you've been listening to us to. Thanks for joining us. WWPR is up next with us at the noon hour, and we'll be back right after this. Smell nasty? Do you want to freshen it up a little bit? Go to aromabypeter.com. Check out all of Peter's candles. It's what we burn here in Studio Yergz. I'm burning right now leather scented candle. That's right, leather scented. So go to aromabypeter.com/Yergz and check out his candles today.
I'm Jane Stahl, retired English teacher, and with my BFF, Susan Bebeck, we manage Studio B Fine Art Gallery in Boyertown, Pennsylvania. We showcase the art of hundreds of local artists, publish books of the poetry, prose, and art of local writers, offer classes, art parties, workshops, discussion groups, cater dinners. We've even hosted a wedding. And we're here to be the go-to place for friendship, learning, and fun in our community. Virtual tours of our exhibits are available right here on Yergz Radio. Let us introduce you to some amazing art and artists.
Check out Jane Stahl and everyone at Studio B in Boyertown, Pennsylvania. Please visit our YouTube channel, Talk TV 24. How's your website doing? I'll tell you how mine's doing. It's awesome. Yergz.com is gotta be the best website for anybody in podcasting or any sort of broadcast solo journalist like me. How did I get that? Limit Break Digital. Limit Break Digital did my website with Yergz.com. They did YergerGroup.com. They take care of my marketing, my branding, and help me get the message out to you. Go to limitbreakdigital.com/Yergz for 10% off your next project. That's a $3,000 site, Yergz.com. And you can get 10% off that by just going to limitbreakdigital.com/Yergz today. Talk to Jay. That's my guy. We all got a guy, and Jay's mine. limitbreakdigital.com. Hey, gang. So we're coming on to WWPR in the middle of the last commercial. I don't know. I got to try to get everybody like on better sync, or somebody at each desk or something. I don't know. But it just sounds crappy when you cut into the middle of a show or the middle of a commercial as you're starting a show. Anyway, 1490 WWPR in Tampa. Welcome. We've been talking in the first hour You always join us in the second hour. We're talking in the first hour about President-elect Trump's picks. And we've been scratching our head. We've been having some spirited arguments and debate like we should be, like we hope the Senate does. Wish in one hand and go poo-poo in the other. And tell me what you have more of at the end of the day. But we've got Richard Simmons working out in the top left screen.
Arm day.
And
no, it's leg
Blake
day,
Fisher.
sir.
Oh, it's leg day.
Blake Fisher in the top right.
But I just got this functional trader yesterday. I put it together, and I just found that there were some bolts that I didn't screw in. But
well, don't kill yourself live on the air.
Yeah.
Well, if I do, at least you guys could call somebody.
Yeah,
I'd be
I
alone.
don't know his address.
I don't know. The gay guy on the show has been watching his booty get up and down.
Bro, that has to be some kind of like lawsuit or something.
Yeah, lawsuit.
I hope you don't go for Senate confirmation.
Yeah, you're getting Senate.
Believe me. But if you think that's the skeleton in my closet, you're in for a surprise. You're going to be like Indiana Jones when that ball comes running down the ramp at him.
Yeah, you probably got some gay skeleton in your closet.
Blake, you got anything going on in the band van?
Oh well, I mean,
that's a yes.
I'm fairly tame as far as guys in bands go. I didn't drink when I was in my 20s at all, really. I was, it was a business. It was like I'm trying to sling merch.
We were one of those guys that treated it seriously.
It was, I took it seriously and stuff. But I mean, now that doesn't mean we all do stupid things in our 20s. I mean, I would never want to have to be Senate confirmed for anything. Mostly just
we're all friends here. It's not like there's anybody listening or anything.
No, I mean, nothing crazy. I mean, just the normal stupid stuff that you do in bands, like pranking each other and stuff. But I don't think we ever got in any serious trouble. Nothing. Now, we got pulled over all the time because if you're in a van with a trailer being pulled behind it, that's very clearly a band. They just assume they're going to hit drug jackpot. And we, of course, never had drugs. And so they never did. But I was notorious for talking back to the police because I'd be like, I know you have no probable cause to search us. I know you had no reason to pull us over. And they'd be like, you can't say that. I'm like, yes, I can. Like they're profiling us. So, other than talking back to the police within my rights, I wouldn't say I got in too much trouble back then.
And courts actually ruled that's actually okay.
It's totally okay. The funniest one though is that they did one time the other guys consented or whatever, so they're searching our van, and the guy, like the jerk that pulled us over, found one of the guys had like a shocking lighter, like a joke lighter, that he handed to people and it would shock them. And the cop that pulled us over got shocked by it, and one of the other guns he's like, "Whose is this?" I'm like, "That's Danny's." He was like, "You're like, did it shock him?" He was like, "Yeah." The other trooper thought it was hilarious that he was like, "Yeah, he's kind of a jerk, so I mean, he deserves it."
Nice. Well, at least, I never gave the phone number out. We should have got some.
Never got arrested.
We should have gave some opinions from listeners. So, Chief of Staff Susie Wiles. This is what we began talking about an hour ago.
She'll be. Well, she doesn't. She's not. That's not Senate confirmed, right? That's just staff.
Correct.
Right? Yeah. We don't do anything with that thing.
But she's actually technically still part of the cabinet.
I didn't realize that. I didn't know they count that.
So
I guess they count the vice president.
She has walk-in privileges to the Oval Office. That's what it's called.
Yeah, that's basically it. Like she doesn't have a vote for like the 25th Amendment.
Well, obviously, yeah.
That's secretaries only. The DNI, the National Security Advisor, don't have votes on that. That is strictly secretaries, I believe.
Yeah. Okay, so
Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy for the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE as they call it.
I mean,
can now we just all agree what a joke this administration is starting out to be?
Well, I mean, these commissions are so dumb, but everyone does them. I'm not taking this too seriously. This seems like something that's like, here, let's find something to placate Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon Musk, who are kind of driving us crazy. I think that's probably more what this is. I'll be shocked if Elon Musk can find $2 trillion to shave off the budget. Won't happen unless you start looking at Medicare and Social Security.
Well, I think we should even go back.
Which is two things that they're targeting anyway.
Well, we should go
They're
back
not.
before that.
He's starting.
Unless this is a department that's confirmed by the Congress and the Senate, and they allocate a budget, then they allocate authority, and they make an actual structure. This has no authority.
It's a committee. It's a committee.
It's a committee for advisory to Trump, who's then gonna have to recommend it. I bet you there's some things that you shave off from the executive, but you're not going to find $2 trillion from that.
Well, and if they do, Congress has to implement it. So good luck. Even if you find it, Congress is probably not going to cut the budget of anything ever, because they never do. What do y'all think about like Stefanik and Huckabee and the kind of the foreign stuff?
I think Huckabee and Rubio are, in my opinion, cut from the same kind of cloth of
Agreed.
Not being diplomatic more so than aggression, and so they kind of do worry me. Huckabee actually worries me more than Rubio, but do you have to confirm Huckabee?
No,
I don't think so.
No.
Which one is What's she?
Mike Huckabee.
What?
Ambassador to Israel.
Yeah.
Ambassadors are confirmed.
And so he worries me. But when it comes to who else did you say?
Elise Stefanik.
Oh, so
to the
Stefanik,
UN.
it's a ceremonial role. She's gonna read a teleprompter at the UN, have some meetings, feel special. It's fine.
I think she'll actually do a good job. I think people are going to underestimate.
I don't know what
her.
they do, honestly. I don't know what is the ambassador to the UN actually ever done.
I think they're going to have an important role this time. I think it's time for us to really think about: do we you needs to shape up, or we need to leave it? In my opinion, because I think that the anti-Israel Semitic stuff going on specifically, and the UNRWA potential funding of terrorism in Gaza is, I think, a problem. And so I think she'll go in there and maybe be the not anti-Semitic voice in there. I agree. I don't like the UN. I think it's a joke, but they've been doing some bad stuff lately. So, maybe she can go in there and take some names.
In that aspect, you might be right. But again, I just don't see it being any. Yeah, I don't know what she's gonna do. She might be a voice from that point of view, but I don't see anything else happening.
It's purely diplomatic. So that's like on the opposite side of these other ones, in the sense that you're right. It's like, it's kind of ceremonial. It's very like,
okay. So here,
talk with other countries.
Look at this CNN headline here. The Senate confirmed a slate of high-profile State Department nominees. So that's not even the secretary. That's just other State Department nominees Thursday night, including ambassadors to Italy, Jordan, Georgia, and the United Arab Emirates. Okay,
so they do confirm.
They are confirmed. Now,
yeah, he'll have no problem. Neither one of them should have any kind of problem getting in there. I don't see, like I said, generally I'm like, give the cabinet, even if I'm like, oh, I disagree with them on that, or I think they're too hawkish or dovish or whatever. I'm like, if the president wants them, the president got elected, it's his prerogative. It's just, I think the Senate's there as make sure no one dangerous gets in there, or compromised, or sketchy, or something.
Okay,
like that.
I just want to bring one point up really quick.
Yeah,
just really quick. This is why nobody uses Bing. I said UN ambassador's salary, and they said it's an average of $20 an hour.
Yeah,
$20.21 an hour.
I'm sure they get hourly pay. Yeah,
I'm sure they do. I'm sure they do.
Here are UN ambassadors confirmed, and it gets down to it. As with all United States ambassadors, the ambassador to the UN and the deputy ambassador are both nominated by the President of the United States and confirmed by the Senate.
Okay.
The ambassador serves at the pleasure of the President. So there's another, that one's confirmed as well. So
we going.
It looks like they get paid around $221,000 a year.
Not bad.
That's pretty much in line with the top higher upper level senator. So
RFK Jr. Thoughts?
Oh,
he's another ex-Democrat, now independent, or whatever. We're kind of all over the map.
Okay, so here's my thoughts about
a worm in his head.
Well, okay, fine. Let me put the DOGE, the government, the Department of Government Efficiency, and RFK Jr. all in one basket of what I like and what I don't like. So, I see Blake already starting to get ready. I don't know
Here's
why I'm
what I
coughing so
like.
much too, Blake.
Jimmy Kimmel's
Something
on a
happened to me.
Field day.
So here's the things that I like and I don't like. First of all, is I like that you're talking about different things. When it comes to government efficiency, there's wasteful spending all around the board, and I'm very sure if somebody really want to get in there and talk about wasteful spending, you can do it. And you know what? I'm very happy that somebody is actually talking about that. Same thing with health. Look, we have we have 41.8% obesity in the United States. A lot of stuff that is approved to go in our bodies here or is not approved in Europe. You know what? Even the Subway sandwiches, they called the bread used in Subway sandwiches in Europe cake because of the sugar content, and over here we call it bread. I'm not talking about the preservatives, the things that. So the whole thing is, I think, when it comes to health in the United States, a mess. The collusions between the companies and the FDA, the pharmaceuticals, the drugs on TV, the ads, the healthcare situation. I'm happy a lot of that stuff is being discussed at the very least because of this appointment. Now, is he going to do the things that are going to be beneficial for all this? I hope so. But I'm very happy that it's actually being in the forefront of the discussion right now. That inefficiency.
Yeah, I'm fine with the discussion. I just go, but here, great. The guy that's going to bring up the discussion thinks fluoride is causing cancer, which it's not, and he thinks that vaccines are causing autism, which they're not. So he's a junk science. It's like he cares about health, but he's also believes all the junk science he ever reads. What especially kills me, as you know, who I get the most crap from in the comments anywhere is Republicans. It's MAGA people. And anytime I have anything negative to say about any of these people, my reel about Matt Gaetz pissed off a lot of people, apparently. And all the insults thrown at me as, oh, I'm a liberal, I'm a secret Democrat, blah, blah, blah. And here's Trump hiring 2 Democrats in his cabinet.
I know.
So, like, how am I the rhino when Trump's hiring Democrats? Like, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is a liberal. He's a far left, and he's like on the fringe left. Like, the anti-vax thing was a left-wing thing until for some reason it turned into a right-wing thing. I just think it's weird. I'd love to have a discussion.
That's an issue of the whole Bible thumper. They're going to pray away the COVID vaccination.
Right, but that's not traditionally who your anti-vax people were. It was elite far left people, and that's
doing it now.
That's his.
Trump was the one that got the vaccine operational.
I know, but he can't admit it. He can't brag about it. He can't brag about it now. So I do not like the framing that we've turned this into of, are you pro-science or anti-science? I think that's the dumbest way to think about science ever, because that's not what science is. It's not a thing you can be pro or against. But it concerns me that someone in charge of health and human services can't look at the science and see that he's wrong about these conspiracy theories that he believes. That does bother me.
Yeah. You live in Oklahoma, which is part of the vast Bible Belt.
Yeah.
And you think that there aren't people that are neighbors of yours that would rather pray their illness away instead of go to a doctor?
I'm not gonna crap on that, Yergs. I mean, people's religious beliefs, I'm not gonna crap on. I'm not going to.
But you don't think that perhaps, because I'm a person of faith, and you know what I think God did to us? He gave us medicine.
Yeah, but if you feel like, I'm not going to crap on someone. I've known people that have done.
I'm never going to crap on personal.
And I'm not going to crap on that. To me, that's a significant difference.
Crap on ignorance.
No, hold on. That's not ignorance to say that you believe that God can heal you. Hold on. I disagree with that.
When you're practicing 2,000-year-old methods of medicine, and there's something that's proven to work much better, it's ignorance.
So you think the Amish are ignorant?
There's a guy in his house.
The Amish drive me crazy. So don't get me started on the Amish. I live with them.
It's a choice.
Yeah, I did too. There's a guy in his house. He knows a flood is coming.
I know. We know. I know.
Deep. Helicopter flies by.
Yes.
We'll send you down a ladder.
No, we know the whole thing. It's God sent the lifeboat. I get it. But here's the thing. My point is, if someone makes the choice between that, I've got no problem with that. I like.
Then he gets the stink eye look from St. Gabriel at the pearly gates.
That's not ignorance to look at 2 paths and choose one of them. What's ignorance is saying, I believe vaccines cause autism when there's no science that backs it up, and there's plenty, and it's like that is ignorance. What RFK Jr. is doing is ignorance. Believing in God is not ignorance, in my opinion. So
here's the thing: is RFK Jr. is going to
God and just a flat out God's going to snap his fingers and cure you.
I think he can.
Like these same assets that think God saved these same assets that think God saved then former President Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania.
How do you know he didn't, Yergs?
By pushing, because he pushed the bullet into a decorated firefighter.
Well, it wasn't the same bullet, but I agree. I don't think we should assign like this kind of stuff. My point is like I also don't think you should not assign it. That my point is you're calling ignorance what I think is unfairly.
If somebody wants to be stupid, we should not try to direct them in a better direction because that's what Jesus would do.
I don't think so. I'm frankly going to disagree with you on this one, Yergs. I'm not going to call out people ignorant for having religious beliefs. I think that's dumb. So
if their religious beliefs stop at stupidity, yes.
What you may think is stupid is not like what's right for you is not right for someone else.
Then practice what you preach there, Reverend, and let me have my own beliefs.
Actually, the hypocrisy of Blake when it comes to all this stuff and abortion is actually quite glaring.
Hold on. I'm the hypocrite.
and let people practice their beliefs, but you don't give them a choice when it comes to abortion. Good job, Blake.
Yeah. I don't think we've had the abortion discussion.
The whole thing about
we just had it last week.
The whole thing about me being a sinner only is relevant if I practice that faith.
Yergs, all I'm calling out with you is you calling people stupid for having a religious belief that you don't believe. That's what I
agree. That is not right. However, the hypocrisy of your choice thing is kind of hilarious too.
That's different. No, killing a human being is not.
No.
It's pretty funny, Blake.
No, it's not funny at all. Like I believe that that's a human being that you're killing, and until Democrats can admit that part, we can't have this discussion. You're killing a human being. I believe that human being should be protected.
At what point?
There's a lot of nuance here. We could get into the weeds of what we actually think should be legal. I'm saying my belief is that that's a human being. And it actually is scientifically true that that's a human being. You are killing a human being when you abort. So I believe that we shouldn't do that. But it has nothing to do with my religion. It's like, I think that
you know that in the first trimester, a zygote, which is what it's really called, not a baby,
a human being,
is genetically the same thing as a shark.
It's a human being. It's not genetically the same thing. It's not true.
Not
true at all that it's a shark. No one could take the DNA of that thing and confuse it with a shark. That is a silly old thing that for some reason still gets passed around. But you are not genetically indifferent from a shark when you're the first trimester. You're a human being. If you're not terminated, will grow into a full-grown human being eventually. It's a human being. That's where my belief comes from.
If my grandmother had a set of nuts, she'd be my grandfather.
That's not the same thing at all, Yergs.
What are we talking about? Hold on. Are we confirming or not confirming RFK Jr.? We haven't. It's Senator Blake, Senator Yergs.
RFK falls in the same category.
On my own show, if I do a what if or a whataboutism. But now we're talking about what about when this baby grows up into a baby in 9 months and finally looks like a baby? It's been a human all along. Surprise!
I don't understand the question.
We're pointing back to additional hypocrisy from the Blake Fisher show.
What if I said that's hypocrisy at all? I'm really serious. What have I been hypocritical about?
The thing that you were just hypocritical about, if I just want to go back about 5 minutes, was the ability for you to admit that people should have their own choice when it comes to being presented with two different options, but you won't give them that same choice and option when it comes to abortion.
Yeah, because I don't think people should give the option to kill people they don't want around.
I mean, so again, I just think that's. Wait. But you did say the same thing when it comes to proven vaccines and not proven vaccines to save somebody's life or not saving it. It's a choice that they're going to make. But then again, it's like I think it's hypocrisy.
It's choosing to. If someone wants to take a vaccine, hold on, it's not the same thing at all. Someone choosing to take a vaccine or not choosing to take a vaccine is affecting their own body, and they're choosing to protect themselves.
And I agree with that.
That could kill them.
And a woman in her first trimester is affecting her own body as well.
No, she's
Correct.
she's affecting another life. When you have an abortion, until Democrats can admit that that's what's happening, is that you are ending a life. Like, can you admit that you are ending a life? It's not just a woman's body we're talking about. We're talking about there's a
You're
second
also
body in
ending
there.
a life after self-pleasuring and wiping up the table.
No,
Ew,
that's not a life.
Jurg,
Jurg,
come
that's
on,
not
is it-
science.
Put
Now.
that skeleton back
That is
in the
not
closet, Jurg.
That is not science. It is not a human being until an egg is fertilized and an embryo is that's when that happens. Okay, it is not life. Sperm is not life. Eggs are not life. It is a human being when they come together. This is science.
Well, I will say if we found sperm on Mars, we'll say there's life on Mars. But like,
Yeah.
Okay, we would say
It would be
there's
a
life.
Martian.
You're right. It is a thing. It is not a living human. It's not a human being. It's not a human being.
All right. Well,
Just like the grass outside is not a human.
so wait, are we confirmed? So go back to RFK Jr. Since everybody who's on the radio listening right now probably turned off.
Probably
either yelling at this radio or not. Are we confirming RFK Jr. or not?
Oh my God, no.
Yeah, I'll confirm him. I mean, I think it's a bad idea, but I'll confirm him because
Why are you confirming him?
I'm confirming him.
Because I'm not
as well.
Because I think he'll be a disaster, and like I think Trump will be a disaster. I mean, so like let him. He doesn't want the adults to keep him in check, so give him what he wants, and it's gonna be bad.
So my reasoning for confirming him is because I think that this will bring up a lot of good things for the American people to talk about when it comes to their health and their food and their environment that we would not bring up otherwise. And I don't know what he's going to do, and I don't know about the people around him or people in the department. All I know is that just the discussion is on the right track.
And I will give RFK Jr.
Just keep up the discussion with the next appointee or the.
Well, but I will.
But it hasn't been that way, Ross. We haven't done that discussion all the way up until now.
I agree. And here's what I would say about RFK Jr. that I think he's better at than anyone else that ran for president this year is actually communicating things to people. He's actually really good at going.
It would be great if there was some truth to the crap that he communicated.
Totally agree, Jurgs. I'm just saying what he does is he goes out and he doesn't assume that the crowd in front of him knows everything that he knows. And he goes, well, here's how this works. Or let me explain this to you.
That's not how it works.
Well, sometimes he's right. I mean, like for example, there was a speech where he was talking about like
who you want in a secretary position is somebody that's right sometimes.
What I'm not
you
saying
have
about
the opportunity to say no. This guy's not suitable.
I'm saying he could be a good communicator if on the health stuff that Matt.
Then let him be the press secretary if he's such a damn good communicator.
Well, that's what he's gonna be. That's my point, Jurgs. I think every one of these is you could just put press secretary of Health and Human Services because I think that's essentially what all these people are going to be.
Agreed.
Yeah. And I think he would be good at that.
Like Trump giving him marching orders.
Oh, I agree. I don't think
why we got to push back and get somebody in there that has a clue.
Right, but like Jurgs, Trump doesn't want to hire any of those people. So unless someone's like national security problem, like I think Tulsi Gabbard is, or Matt Gaetz, where I think he is a gross human being and shouldn't be and grossly unqualified, and in a position where we like it really does matter if someone's unqualified to be the attorney general. And so, but like the Health and Human Services, like what would happen if Health and Human Services like what is the worst case scenario that you could do with Health and Human Services? You know what I mean? Like there are degrees of which one of these met. Secretary of Agriculture, not worried about that person, like the economy crashing because of something that person does. So I think there is probably more good in the conversation that potentially comes out of RFK Jr. being in there, even if I disagree with his premise of stuff. I like to have the discussion because I think that we should talk more about the issues and less about it's like we talk about the issues that don't really affect us, but no one's out there explaining how tariffs are going to maybe negatively.
Well, then if we want to talk about what really the issues that really
in the first hour about how voters especially have short memories.
Yes.
Do we remember COVID when it was a hoax? And then all of a sudden you talked about putting some value into science and so on.
Yeah.
The Secretary of Health and Human Services oversees the Food and Drug Administration, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, the National Institutes of Health, and the massive Medicare and Medicaid service programs, all of which have been critical of Trump and all of which have been arch enemies of Trump. And you want a yes man like Kennedy controlling that.
I don't want. I do not like RFK Jr. I did not like him when he was running as a Democrat. I did not trust him when he was running as an independent, and I don't trust him now that he's a Republican or whatever he is
You'll
now.
make him a secretary in an untrustable president's cabinet?
I give the president. I don't want him to be I don't want any of these people there. I don't want Donald Trump to be the president, but he is going to be the president, and so I just believe that you give the president the rope to hang himself with if that's what he wants to do.
So I want to just say that where if you want to talk about, first of all, this is a position that is going to directly affect us. You said like, oh, it doesn't directly affect us.
You're right.
It absolutely does. But one thing that we haven't talked about that is going to directly affect us is the border czar, and I think that is something we should talk about.
Yeah. Well.
Now, why do I say that is going to directly affect us? Is because this is a part of the campaign that says we're going to make sure that undocumented people, illegals, whatever you want to call them, whatever narrative you want to say, is going. There's 25 million in the country. They're saying, and then they want to, or is it 11?
Well, there's different numbers. There's
different numbers. Sure.
It's
fine.
how many
We'll get there. We'll get there in a second. We're framing this for the radio, sir.
Yeah.
So there's different numbers of people. Let's call it anywhere from 11 million to 25 million, and there's about 500,000 that might have been convicted of a crime or have criminal records in some way, shape, or form. And they're going to say, we're going to come around and we're going to collect them and we're going to ship them out. And then we're going to come out and start to collect other people that are undocumented / illegal and start getting them out of the country. That is absolutely going to affect us. And that's going to affect us by people who are working on our farms, people who are doing labor work that is, either low wage or maybe even under minimum wage. But anyway, it's still labor.
Yeah, Americans aren't taking these jobs.
Yeah,
it's going to affect us.
The people who are working for underwage jobs are also stealing our houses on the real estate market.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a counter narrative on the Republican side. Matt, right. I think here's the thing. Unfortunately, what we have over the last 8 years is a situation where we've got executive orders, undoing executive orders back and forth between Biden and Trump on the border. And so for the most part, Biden already undid those things that made the border so much worse 4 years ago. He did that like 6 or 7 months ago because in the lead, he kind of had to for campaign reasons and stuff. And so it's gotten much more under control.
He also tried to do it legally through legislation twice.
I keep trying to give him credit for that, but he's the one that undid all the executive orders that caused the problem in the first place. So I'm not giving him any credit. He should have done that before making the border a mess. You could have done the border bill.
He did. That was one of the first things he did after being
he brings it up every week, and it never made it out of committee with a Democratic-controlled House. It was not a serious bill. No one took it seriously.
Still did it.
He didn't do anything. It never made it out of committee. He didn't do anything.
He still did. He still presented it. What do you want him to do?
You love
20 executive orders like Trump does? 20 executive orders for one bill?
Trump. I mean, you got to admit that
Trump wrote 19 executive orders just for the border.
Trump won this election because of Biden's what he did at the border. That is why Trump won this election.
Trump won this election because he lied about transsexuals.
That is not why he won this election. The numbers
was in a debate last night.
No one cares about that stuff. No one cares about it.
Trump. The guy. This is a voter for Trump. This is a Republican. The guy said he hates Trump. Thought he was a poor candidate, but he was tired of kids being authorized to have trans surgeries in school.
Well, obviously that represents the whole country of voters.
In this guy's face.
People said what mattered to them is the economy and the border, which Biden failed at both of them. I'm saying Biden gets the blame for the border because he caused the mess. Either way, the point is, I'm tired of this going back and forth on executive orders because then Trump's just going to change his thing, and then the next Democratic president's just going to do their thing. This has to be something that gets done in Congress. I am more interested to see if Republicans will revive that bill or a different version of it, because keep in mind, they don't really have to do the compromises with a lot of Democrats. They just need to get 7 Democrats in the Senate to go along with it. I'd be curious to see if the actual border bill, I'd like this stuff to actually be in law as opposed to going back and forth and letting the executive branch have all the control of this.
Right.
I'm not sure that'll happen or not.
That's something we absolutely agree on. I got to take a break. Still with us is WWPR here in Tampa Bay. Also, the UG.media, the XL channel in London, England. We're still with them today. And yeah, we'll be back with Yerg's Radio and the rest of the Mastiff Media Network after this.
Do you have a podcast? Of course you do. It's probably one of the reasons why you listen to us. Well, I got something for you. Flowsend.ai. All you do is take your pre-recorded data, click, drag, and drop right into the inbox for Flowsend AI. Click a button, and out comes everything that you're going to need. From the transcript to content, such as keywords, titles for your episode, the timeline, posts for LinkedIn, posts for Twitter, Instagram, other smaller platforms, all the things that it takes you hours to do in literally minutes. So go to flowsend.ai. Tell them Yerg sent you and get your subscription today. Worth every penny. Flowsend.ai.
1490 WWPR, the UG.media XL, Yerg's Radio, and the rest of the Mastiff Media Network. We're back. Question for you. You got a podcast? Of course you do. That's why forget it. We did that part. But Yerg's Radio and Rainbow Radio are looking for content to upgrade our automated and live platforms. So hit us up at news, NEWZ, at Yerg's, YERGZ. If you would like your podcast to be syndicated on Yerg's Radio, or if you're part of the LGBT community, or it's about or sponsors or supports the LGBT community, let us know, and we'll consider it for the upcoming rainbowradio.gay and rainbowradio.lgbt. And if you want to turn any of those podcasts into a live show right here on Yerg's Radio or Rainbow Radio or any of our affiliates in the Mastiff Media Network, hit us up again, news, NEWZ, at Yerg's, YERGZ.com. What is he doing?
I'm putting the stickers for the weight levels on the plates. I told you I just got this yesterday.
Yeah.
And while we're talking, I can get this done.
Yeah. Have at it, man.
I moved my camera over here so you can see me.
I already got sued once today. I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah, you already got sued once today. Why don't you chill?
I think, spoiler alert wise, I don't think that any of the rest of the nominees are particularly controversial. Do you all? I mean, the Kristi Noem and I don't know the rest of them.
Wait, you don't think Kristi Noem for Homeland Security is not controversial?
I don't think she'll have any trouble getting confirmed.
I mean, I don't think she'll have any trouble getting confirmed, but you think that she's...
I don't think any of them are going to have trouble getting confirmed.
Do you think that she's able to do the job of Homeland Security?
No, I mean, maybe. She's, I think, been an okay governor. I mean, she's gotten a lot of attention during COVID and stuff. What I don't like about any of these people is that they're yes men for Trump, and the common denominator with almost all of them is they're not just loyalists. They were previously critics and now they're loyalists. It's like Donald Trump loves to have a convert more than anything.
But I think the other common denominator that they all have is that not only are they yes men or women, but there's also another yes man or woman that is probably better suited for the position they're about to hold.
I don't know, because remember, if loyalty is the number one thing, who's been more loyal than the people that are on this list?
Understood and agreed, but that's not what I'm talking about.
Right, but I'm saying
Talking
that
about
is
at least getting somebody that's going to follow at least for a little while, because we already know that most of this cabinet's going to get fired in year one.
anyone less loyal than these people would say no to him. Is the problem. You can't like Mitch McConnell is, I mean, a bad example. He's not going to go from, I mean, he's retiring, but Mitch McConnell's not going to like go. Trump has no interest in someone like Mitch McConnell being the secretary of any of these things. And I'm just using him as an example of someone that like supports Trump, but also says no to him. And those people have that's basically immediately disqualification.
Yeah, you don't think McConnell, or you don't think he would try to talk McConnell into one of these lesser cabinet positions?
No,
for no other reason than to get him out of the Senate?
I think they hate each other. I think
exactly. So make him. Where's the list? Make him the Secretary of Education.
Yeah,
a cabinet level position he wants to do away with in the first place.
Was that a rumor that Boebert was going to get it, or was that just BS?
I would be really surprised about, because I think she's also kind of
can't spell. I think she's perfect for it.
Yeah, I think most of these people are going to be unqualified because the qualification is you have to be loyal first. And so, yeah, I'm sure there are a lot of better people that would be suited for all of these positions. That's the other thing. That's always the case because these are political appointments. And political appointments always, it's a favor for your buddy. It's never the person that's best for the job, ever. That's just the truth.
Hey,
I mean,
Yergs, I'm turning around to the other side. Calm down.
I'm not on that one. No.
Rolling over. And so, yeah, that's always the case with political appointments. You're going to have, it's going to be your campaign staff. It's going to be people that have been loyal to you. It's going to be people that have helped you out. It's not always just because like, oh, this person's the smartest person for health and human services stuff. It's especially those kind of cabinet positions.
Yeah, I'm saying that there is a pool of lapdogs that have better qualifications for these positions than the litter of lapdogs that we put together there.
But like, name one of them. Who? Give me the name of the person that fits the loyalty.
That's the thing. You don't have to be famous. Just because you're Twitter famous doesn't mean that you're the best qualified for the job. But that's what a level of qualifications is for Trump. Is you have to be Twitter famous. Yeah. But there is going to. I bet there's a lot of people that are probably very MAGA pro Trump that are way more qualified for the job, but they're not Twitter famous.
Yeah, no, but I think his qualifications are you are loyal to me and you can look good on camera and speak on camera. I think that is literally the qualifications for every one of these. That's the first two things that matter, and then everything else is secondary to that.
I agree.
I think that's going to go poorly for him because he's not smarter than all these people.
Okay, so wait, did we go up and down, or did we vote senators on this last confirmation? Who is this?
I said yes on RFK Jr., even though I think he is unqualified. But yeah, let's.
Yeah, but what about Department of Homeland Security? Christine Holmes.
I'm up. Give him who he wants.
Yergs, Senator Yergs.
No, because the only thing she's got with any sort of securing a homeland is up against her neighboring state of North Dakota.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm just saying, when you can give me a name of someone that is equally as loyal and more qualified for this specific job,
here's why the Senate needs to be pushing back, whether they're owned by him or not. I told you this earlier back, in the first hour. The guy that he wants to be the DCI, Director of Central Intelligence, was named that position, by the way, was because that person was the head of the intelligence community. To include the FBI, the DIA, the NSA, all of those agencies fell under, from intelligence purposes, the head of the CIA. But the FBI pissed and moaned about it for years because that person was also the head of the CIA. And their own director had less of a say in intelligence matters because he or she, I guess only he so far, was only the head of the FBI. So Bush created the intelligence czar, is what I think it was originally called, until it was the Director of National Intelligence.
Yeah. And
an office was created to oversee and officiate the entire intelligence community. That it's worked super well. That is one of the first things that this Doge committee should be chopping. And
Right.
that's how it should be. But my point being,
And
the
TSA.
current nominee for the Central Intelligence Agency already had the position above that's now having a nominee, a relative no name in the intelligence community that, as you've convinced me of, has issues.
Yeah.
So there's two examples.
Yeah, I just think like he's gonna get they can choose to fight him on one or two of these. They can't fight him on all of them. I mean, it's just it's just not gonna happen. But I mean, I do think
If Fox News is correct about their issues, meaning that they are the lead network, that they're leading everybody else. But the fact is, if everybody else is leftist, then they're still a minority.
I mean, it's a fun way to play the numbers games there, but my point
being, if the left media, the liberal media, is exactly that, they're going to have a field day with all of this. And we've been in this for all of a week now. And I'm already having people looking at me, shaking their head that were Trump supporters. And I've already had the opportunity to say, I told you so.
Yeah, I mean, the Gates thing is such an obvious one. I think most people aren't aware of Gabbard's problems, but her problem.
I think the media needs to get off their ass.
Well,
and that's us, because the media has already said this is the first presidential election that wasn't won by positive relationships with the mass media, the major media outlets. It was done by Joe Rogan, Howard Stern.
Yeah, and I'm sure, scared to death of that.
David Pakman.
I don't trust the media to do their job all of a sudden any better than they have for the last 8 years. I think they're going to continue to do a terrible job, and they're going to continue to not look in the mirror and understand that they've caused part of this as a problem. It's actually their fault.
I think they know it, but I think it's a lot of the same complacency.
I don't think they do. I think if they did, they might have changed something. I can't see that they've learned their lessons. I had
a friend of mine. I still have a friend of mine. At the time, we were both in San Francisco, and he worked for the San Francisco Chronicle. And that's when this is early 2000s. That's when these things were just starting to show up online. The only news you got off the internet was a blog.
Yeah.
Now, the New York Times has a website. Oh, wow. This is cool.
So wait, are we approving Noam or no? I forgot.
We were just going to ask, do you need a spot? Or where'd you go? You have my son's socks on. I don't think since I've adopted my son, I don't think he's worn a pair of matching socks.
Do I have matching socks? I don't have matching socks.
No, you don't have matching
socks. I only buy one kind of sock, or actually two kinds. It's like gray and black, but they're all the exact same, and I get them all at the same time so that my socks can't ever not match.
Costco.
Yeah.
And you still failed there.
Hey, anyway, so Kristi Noem, I'm going to have to say
piggies up to the camera.
So Kristi Noem, Senator Matt is going to say no, by the way. So I was over there just reading her bio while you guys were talking about all kinds of stuff. And even though she was in the House for a while, I think that she was tuned in for quite a couple things when it comes to security. I don't see much security in her background, but much organization when it comes to that kind of when it comes to terrorism or intelligence and things like that. I don't know how she's going to work with Tulsi. She is pretty anti-LGBT community. I don't know if that plays a big part into the decision for Homeland Security. But Homeland is part of that. I'm gonna have to put a downvote on her, to be honest with you. I think that she's just Trump likes attractive women and around his
yeah.
And on TV and his spokesperson. I think that's what all of these are. Yeah.
However, WAPO did say that she was the most powerful intern on Capitol Hill when she was interning in Washington, and then she won Congress, and she was one of the top fundraisers for the GOP when she was there.
Yeah, I think she's
not a slouch. Let's just say that.
No, she's not a slouch for sure. I think that, and I think of her like I think of sort of how people thought Nikki Haley with the UN on the last when she got nominated for that. People were kind of poo-pooing on that, and a bunch of senators, even Democrats, kind of came out and like, we were wrong. Like she went in there and hustled and did it. Like learned a new thing. I think Kristi Noem, she's no slouch. Like she She knows what she's doing.
She's no slouch.
Doesn't mean I disagree with agree with her on everything. I don't, obviously, when you're a Trump loyalist, but I think she'll take the challenge better than and the same thing with Stefanik. I think she's similar situation.
Actually, Senator Matt's going to take that back. I'm gonna prove her. I'm gonna prove Kristi Noem.
Yeah, and like I said, if they end up being bad,
yours is a no on this one.
No, because
she'll get there.
Just because they're a yes man or woman to Trump does not make them qualified.
Yeah, but I mean, like that's going to be
as the independent senator that's a part of this committee. Yeah. I'm going to make them think a little bit for themselves.
I don't know. I don't think you're the independent senator on this committee. I think he is the Democrat on this committee, to be honest with you.
I think we should.
He is the Bernie Sanders that is the socialist that caucuses with the Democrats for decades.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. I want to go back to the whole Senate. Essentially, this was not only like 20 something years ago that you would get like 98 votes to confirm cabinet positions in the Senate. This was not a partisan thing. I think it needs to go back to being not a partisan thing, unless someone is like, potentially a Russian stooge like Tulsi Gabbard or Matt Gaetz.
And put nonpartisan candidates up for vote.
They were putting partisan candidates up back then too. It was just that like there wasn't this thing like everyone gave the president the cabinet. What?
They were qualified back then.
I'm sure there were ones that weren't.
And that's the ones that got the 2.
Well, but I'm saying like my point is now everything's going to be every one of these confirmations is going to be 53-47.
So let's go back to your question, Blake, because I thought it was a really good question. In your theory, is that you think that the president should have his cabinet no matter what. And I'm thinking to myself, like, if I was taking over an executive branch and I needed to work with people and I needed to get my guys in there because I had to do a job, the last thing I really want to do is make sure that they were buddying up with the senators that prevent me from doing my job. And I just need to get things done in 4 years. And so I almost kind of agree with you that, the president should be able to pick their cabinet. That maybe the Senate confirmation hearing, in air quotes hearing, should be just more of a transparency of people's records. Get them on the record to say stuff, and then it's a confirmation.
And if they're not,
for example, if there's an alleged sex offender running to be Attorney General,
or that's what I'm saying. I think you can be disqualified in the hearings. Does that make sense? We can have a piece of your past or a performance issue or something.
Well, if it's illegal, then you put charges on the guy.
Exactly. Or we can disqualify someone and say, hey, this is really problematic that you, Tulsi Gabbard, it's problematic to us that you blame Russia's invasion of Ukraine on a conspiracy theory that we were developing biological weapons in Ukraine, which is not true. Where is the evidence of that? Can you show it to us? To me, that is disqualifying in her hearing to go, all right, you actually are disqualified. But, Kristi Noem, do we think you are the bet? Like, are you our top choice for it? No. Do we think you might have struggles? Yeah. Or what's his name? The Fox News guy. I keep forgetting his last name.
Hegseth.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, Hegseth. We don't think you're qualified to run a department, but there's nothing if there's nothing disqualifying, you didn't,
How about the fact that he was sent out of the military for endorsing far-right militia groups?
I'd want to see that evidence in the hearing. I do want to see that evidence in the hearing because
I think exactly that's what the hearing should be for.
Because he's claiming it's just because of his cross tattoo, and I'm like, well, that would be ridiculous if he got taken off of a detail for a tattoo that's just a Christian symbol. I would say, that would be I would have a problem with that on the other side. I would say you got discriminated against for your religious beliefs.
Yeah, 100%.
I doubt it's just that. I think there's some posting online. So I think that's going to have to come out in the hearings and we're going to have to see, did you post stuff online that was like disqualifying? If so, then you're disqualified. If he was just posting pro-Trump stuff and it wasn't specifically, violent or something, then okay, no, then I think that, military people get to have political opinions too.
So it's story time. Years ago, I got hired to open this venue in Hong Kong. So I was flown out to Hong Kong, the whole nine. I was the general manager. Went in there and I was like, yeah, blah blah. I was going to lead the venue. It was supposed to be. I was in charge of everything in operations. It just so happens when I got there, and I didn't realize this was happening before I even got there, they hired my assistant general manager, they hired the bartender, they hired the chef, they hired all these different people. And I got in there, and they're like, hey, here's your people. And there was nothing more disruptive than that them creating this different sense of loyalty, different agenda, or I guess path or a trajectory of this business than I was hired to do and that we discussed. It was detrimental to their business, and I tried to explain that to them. I can tell you right now, their business went out under within 6 months, and I left. And they called me around month 5 and say, "Hey, come back and help me fix it." I was like, "I don't think I can, bro."
Yeah.
But the fact is that is detrimental. So I think that having this kind of like bureaucratic, everybody gets to nip at the pie of who gets to get hired within the executive branch, I think is problematic.
Well, because I think we've given the executive branch way too much power. I think that that's really what this boils down to, is that Congress needs to take some of this power back. I think the trouble with that is that that's what I would like to see happen, but I don't see that happening under the Trump administration, because I think they just want that. They don't like Democrats having that bureaucratic power. They just want to have it themselves. I don't see the vast elimination of useless departments and stuff. I don't think that that's going to happen, because that was kind of the promise under the first Trump administration. I think we have the exact same number, if not more, agencies than we did when he started president in 2017. So I don't see him getting rid of, TSA and the Department of Education and all this stuff. I think that he's just going to wield the power of it. And I would like to see a shakeup in the bureaucracy of the executive branch. I think it's bloated and it's inefficient, and I would love to see efficiencies and get rid of the stuff that we don't need. But I don't see that this ragtag crew of people are going to be the people that do it.
I'm still trying to look up the actual comments. They've been buried clearly.
Which
or who
comment?
the
Thanks.
Oh, I heard that the Trump administration and the lawyers had to meet with him yesterday at an emergency meeting because of some allegations that have been brought up.
Well, I mean, they did allegedly float his name and hire him within 24 hours. So obviously there's no way you'd have enough time to do any sort of legitimate backgrounding.
Okay, so last thing I want to ask everybody, because I have my list. Who are your first top 2 people to get fired by Trump? I think we're going to have the first firings within the first 3 months.
Great question. Fired or quit? Does it matter?
Fired or quit?
Either one. Well, so that's my question to MAGA people is okay, of all these people that you think are great hires, who are you going to turn around and stab in the back immediately when they resign because they tell Trump no?
Oh, they're all going to get stabbed in the back. But who's going to be the first out the door? The first 2. Who's your first 2?
Rubio and Gates.
I don't think Gates makes it in. I think Gates does not get confirmed. Even conservatives are even Republicans are pissed off about it. I don't think he has a chance.
But are they going to buck Trump when it comes time to vote?
Yeah, I think
you were the one I raised earlier, or maybe Matt did.
Just need 3.
Who has already been reelected and doesn't have to worry about it.
Yeah, you just need 3 though.
Yeah, I don't think Gates is going to be in. But if Gates is in, I think he gets fired real quick.
Not to mention, Gates might not even make it to the hearings, because if the House releases that ethics thing and it's damning, he's not going to even Trump will rescind it.
Well, if it was so damning, they would have brought charges way earlier than now. I mean,
it can be damning and not be criminal. It can be damning and not be not enough to do charges.
No, in the Trump administration, I don't think it would matter.
Look at.
So I think so you want my guy? My guy, I personally think the number one guy, the first guy that's going to get fired, is the border czar.
Really?
Yeah.
Just because this is the only PR nightmare that I can see having. Trump loves good PR, even bad PR. But this guy could be, I think, is like cutting a steak with a spoon. It's going to be messy.
I think he's too solid, though. He's one of the few that's back from the previous administration, and he's the only one I've seen back from the previous administration going into something even close to relevant to what he or she did before.
I think it's going to be. it's someone with some true conviction about the post they're in. So it's going to be like Mike Waltz with National Security Advisor, or Tom Homan with the Border Czar, or Mike Huckabee as the ambassador to Israel. Because Mike Huckabee actually cares about, cared long about Israel for much longer than Donald Trump's been a Republican. I could see Donald Trump, Tucker getting in his ear and him trying to throw Israel into the bus, and Mike Huckabee being like, no. So I think it's going to be someone that has some loyalty to something that's maybe going to edge Trump out.
All right,
gang. I have got to cut things on time today because I have a plane to catch.
Where are you going?
Going back to Pennsylvania for an early Thanksgiving that I was informed about earlier this week.
Okay, well, enjoy your trip.
So, yeah, I had to make those arrangements because apparently, I don't know, my niece or something can't make Christmas, which is the holiday we're all supposed to be home for. But now I've also got to be home for Christmas too, something like that, whatever. Well done, as always, guys, for the 5 different versions of this show that I put out during a week. This one's always the most spirited and the most fun. I don't get to rant as much, but you guys take up for that for me. Well done. Follow both of these guys. You can get Blake at, where's he at? There we go. You can get Blake at thehomelessconservative.com. He puts out episodes once a week, twice a week.
Once a week currently.
Yeah, about once a week on everything. He's, as the name suggests, from the right, but not a fan of the current guy coming in. Also, Matt.
Blake is not a fan of my jokes today, too.
Sorry, I didn't hear it. What'd you say?
Nothing, man.
Also, Matt Deemer from Daily Crypto News. You can get him, Matt, at dailycryptonews.net and info at deemerforcongress.com. You're daily, right? Every day.
I am daily. Yes, sir.
That's awesome.
They used to be on Radio Yergs until something happened, but I got demoted.
I decided to sleep in, but that's also changing. So that's actually the meeting I was in yesterday. They did this accountability thing. And I said, that's my thing, is to get back to better managing the automated portions of Yerg's Radio. So, yeah, I'll be stealing from you again. Matt at dailycryptonews.net and info at deemerforcongress.com. Daily Crypto News is available every day by around 10:30, something like that. You can find that, both of them, wherever you get your podcasts. You can get all of us at News, NEWZ, at Yerg's, YERGZ.com. Hit us up. Let us know where we suck, where we're doing awesome. And that's it. I will be back on Monday with Jane Stahl for both Up the Middle and Both Sides Now. The 3 of us will be back next Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 Pacific, 4 p.m. for those of you joining in London. That's it, gang.
And read the Swoley Bible over the weekend.
There he is.
I will not be working out.
Peace, y'all.
All right, guys. Thanks again. Well done.
Bye, brother.